parents helped integrate schools in Washington County. My father, a teacher, worked with whites and blacks to fight for educational opportunity for all children. My mother is 77 years old and is still a high school secretary. She tells me she loves all her students and all her teachers and wants the best for them. All my children are public school beneficiaries. The fight for our children and educational opportunity is personal for me. When these extremists work to undermine public education, I see it as a slap in the face of my father and my mother's sacrifice, all of those that you know who sacrificed and believed in a better future for our children, and it is a direct assault on our children's future. And I know that many of you feel like me, this is not just political, this is personal. I also come from a faith tradition that says when the prophet and when Jesus said, care for the children, he asked the children to come forward. They didn't say only the rich children, white children, the black children, the Latino children, the two-parent family children, the children that don't have mental or physical handicap. They said, let the children come. Let all of them come. 143 years ago, a black man and a Methodist preacher named J.W. Hood and a white Congregationalist preacher named Samuel Ashley teamed together to push North Carolina forward from the past of racism and slavery, and they demanded that a constitutional right to a quality public education be guaranteed to every North Carolina child. In 1868, they formed a mighty coalition and they made it law. 57 years ago this month, Thurgood Marshall with white and Jewish and black lawyers won the Brown versus Board of Education decision. It was designed to rip up the disparities and injustices wrought by legal segregation, and is still the law. These laws were meant to move us forward, but at every turn, even after their passage, there have always been forces that wanted to go backwards. And there have always had to be people in a mighty coalition, people voting at the polls, and lawyers working in the court that say we are not going backward. Today, in our General Assembly, a political extreme white ring, ultra-conservative Tea Party, Art Pope finance wants to go backward. Rather than invest in our children's future, they want to devastate public education and undermine funding and education investment. It's wrong, it's backwards, and we must fight back. They want to gut dropout prevention funds. It's wrong, it's backwards, and we must fight back. They want to lift the cap on charter schools and give public money to private schools, which is nothing more than resegregation. It's wrong, it's backwards, and we must fight back. Legislators who come from poor communities that got the nerve to cut public education. It's wrong, it's backwards, and we must fight back. Art Pope's money, Civitas's bad policy are being used to finance and create plans that will facilitate our children's failure. It's wrong, it's backwards, and we must fight back. And so we are here today with one voice to say we will fight back. Investing in our children is not a state luxury, a state choice, it's a state necessity. If we don't put money in on the front end of life, we will pay money on the back end of life. And so we must hold hands and fight back. NCAE, NAACP, HKMJ, parents, teachers, students, public workers, unions, churches, and anybody else, we must fight back. We must register our discontent. We must fight back. We must march together around the Jericho road of extremism. We must fight back. We must speak truth to power. We must fight back. Red, yellow, black, and white, every one of our children are precious in God's sight. We must fight back. They may have votes for a season, but seasons change. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. We must fight back. Too much is at stake. Too many children will be hurt. We can't go backwards. We can't bankrupt public education. God put us here for such a time as this. Turn to your neighbor and say, neighbor, we can't let our children, our future, our inheritance, our legacy be treated like this.